Hi, Math 1. This lesson is going to review everything that we've learned from 2.1 to 2.6. So please watch this video and take good notes. The first thing we're going to review is how to check if a point is a solution. Okay? And we have to show some work. So the x number is 3. And that number needs to go in to the x spot. The y number is negative 4. So I will put that number into the y spot. So let's put the negative 4 there. And here we have negative 2. The x number is 3 minus 6, subtract 10. I don't need to put parentheses because there are parentheses. So this side has a minus 4. And let's see what happens over here. So when we use our calculator, the negative is the little button, parentheses, 3 minus 6, close parentheses, minus 10. And what does that make? That makes negative 4. So we have negative 4 does equal negative 4. It's a solution because it's true. If it was not equal, I would say no. The second thing that we studied was how to make a table of solutions. So we are going to put these x numbers into the x spot. When you have an x, you write parentheses. We are going to plug in different inputs to get the outputs. Okay, 1/2 times x. My first input is negative 2. So let's get our calculator. We will use the fraction button and do 1/2, okay, parentheses, negative 2. But now I say minus 4. That one's little, that one's big. And what is the answer? The output is negative 5. Let's put in 0. Fraction 1/2 times 0 minus 4. And that makes negative 4. Let's put in a 2. There is a fast way to do this. If you go up and you grab that by hitting enter, you can change the input 0 into the input of 2. Enter. And now our output is negative 3. And when you put in 4, let's go grab it. 4 goes in. Negative 2 comes out. So now we are going to take all these points and make a graph. Negative 2 goes to negative 5. 0 goes to negative 4. 2 goes to negative 3. 4 goes to negative 2. And you get your ruler out and you make sure that they all line up. If one of your points was up here, that is not in line. That is a mistake. I would have to check my calculations. Okay, is that a good line, class? No, you have to put the arrows on. Okay, the next thing that we studied was how to find slope. And there are 3 ways that we can do this. The first way is from a graph. If the line is decreasing, if the line goes down, I will draw my triangle down. And when you go down, that is negative 1, 2, 3. When you go to the right, it is positive 4. So the slope is negative 3 over 4. Can that fraction reduce? Type it into your calculator, negative 3 over 4 comes out the same. So no, it is already reduced. The The second way you can find slope is from a table. So we will start over here. 7 to 19, that is getting bigger. How much is being added? Plus 12. That's 12 more students. Okay, and over here we have plus 8. Every 8 days, the 12 goes in the numerator. And how does this fraction reduce? It becomes 3 over 2. Okay? Reduce means to make smaller. And the last way that we can find slope, when you have 2 points, we need to make our own table. Make a table. So we have a couple of points here. This first point, the x is 5, and his y value is negative 12. But then I have another point right here. I have 5 and negative 22. So the slope is always on the outside, from negative 12 to negative 22. That is getting more negative. How much do we subtract? Negative 10. And over here, we're adding 0. So if I make my slope negative 10 divided by 0, let's see what the calculator says about that. The fraction negative 10 over 0 says, error. So you cannot divide by 0. The calculator is trying to tell us undefined. Undefined is the answer that you would write on your paper. Undefined. Okay, let's review how to graph lines by finding key features. Okay, what are key features? You must always find a starting point, and you always have to find a slope. So let's do the slope first. Okay, the slope is always in front of the x, 4 over 1. Okay, this is the short equation. When we have the short equation, there's only 2 numbers. So the point will always have a y-intercept. There's only 1 number left. Okay, the y number is always alone, negative 1. This is called a y-intercept. When you have a 0, you are always going to be on the y line. And so this is where we start. There's our starting point. Okay, and now we're going to go 4 up or 4 down. 4 up and 1 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. Can I do any more points? Yes, we can do a point if we go down. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. And then we will use our ruler to draw a nice straight line. Okay, and don't forget to put the arrows. Okay, this line is increasing. An increasing line must have a positive slope, and it does. Okay, when you are using the short form, okay, the y-intercept will always be on the y-axis. Our starting point is always at the y-line. But the other way to graph, okay, is if we have this longer form. Okay? And the long form, the equation has 3 numbers. Let's do the slope first. The slope is always in front of the x. What is the slope for this line? it is negative 1 over 3. We must look in front to see if it is positive or negative. Now the long form must also have a point. Okay, the x number is by x right here. When you see plus 2, we will use a negative 2. We have to switch. We have to use the opposite. Okay? And then the y number is going to be alone. Just like this problem, the y number is always alone. And that's right there, positive 4. We do not switch him. So our starting point, negative 2, 4 is right here. This is where we will start. Let's put our pencil on the starting point. When it is negative, do we go up or down? Down 1. And the bottom is always to the right. Down 1 over 3. Down 1 over 3. Let's go the other way. Up 1, left 3. So when we draw this line, okay, they all line up. This line is decreasing. A decreasing line must have a negative slope, and it does. So it works. Okay, what else did we study in this chapter? The next thing that we looked at were types of lines. Okay, so let's just review here. An increasing line goes up, and the slope is positive. A decreasing line goes down, and the slope will be negative. A constant line is flat, like that, okay? And the slope is 0. When you're doing your calculation, you will get a problem like this. And when you use your calculator and you put 0 over 7, the calculator says 0. The calculator will tell you when the answer is 0. But for vertical lines, okay, this person is not going to live. The slope is undefined. The problem will be something like this. 4 divided by 0. When you put 4 over 0, your calculator will say error. And that means undefined. And so these are the answers that you will get in your calculator. Okay. Let's practice writing equations. To write equations, we need to know a slope, and we need to know the y-intercept. So let's look at this graph and find those two things. So for the slope, the line is going down. Let's count these boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Negative 9. Down 9 and over 1. So the slope is negative 9 over 1. And then the B is the point 0, comma. This is the y-intercept, which is right there. It's going to be 0, 6. Okay, let's make our equation now. Y equals negative 9, and we always put the slope in front of the x. And then we will have plus 6. The y-intercept is the number alone. Okay. We can write an equation when they tell us key features. So here they told us the slope is 1 over 6. Thank you for telling me. And then the B is the special point with the 0. The y-intercept is 0, -8. We are ready to make our equation. Y equals. We always put the slope in front of the x. And when it says -8, do we put plus or minus? -8. Okay, let's review interpreting. Interpreting means we have to make a sentence. We will make the sentence to explain. So let's make sentences for this graph right here. Okay, so first of all, what is the slope? Let's start right here. And a nice point is right there. So how many up is this? It's not 3. It is up 30. And this is over 1, 2, 2. So our slope is 30 over 2. But I can reduce this. 30 over 2 can be written as 15 over 1. Okay, and I'm going to write some words here. When we go up 30, okay, that was grams. The grams was going up. And when we went over 2, that was 2 seconds. So these words help me make my slope sentence. I'm going to say 15 more grams. 15 more. Okay. Every 1 second. And is that true? Does it go up 15 every 2 seconds? Up 15 every 2 seconds? Yes. The y-intercept point, the y-intercept is always on the y-axis, which is going to be right here, this point. That is the point 0, 10. So I must explain these in a sentence. Okay, that point does not happen every time. It's only right there. So we say on 0 seconds. On 0 seconds. Okay, we have 10 what? There is 10 grams. So for a point, oops, we always say on. But for the slope, we always say every. One more way to interpret. Here is a table that shows us the hours and the meals served. So the slope is not inside. The slope is outside. How many more meals? Plus 6, plus 6, plus 6. So we have 6. And over here, we have plus 2, plus 2. And that can reduce. That can reduce to 3 over 1. And what are the words for this? The 6 on top was for meals. So I will write a little meals right here to help me remember. And this is every 2 hours. So I will put hours at the bottom. And so let's make a sentence. Here it is. 3 more or less? More meals. And we could say served every 1 hour. When you have slope, it happens every time, every time. But when you have a point, okay, that is only this one time, just right here, not every time, only here. So we say on hour 3. What do we have? There is 3 meals served. I hope this helps explain everything that we studied, and now it is time for you to do your practice. Use your notes to practice all these things. Good luck, math boys.